pumped about. The more things to be excited about, the better, right? So with that said,
Absolutely.
let's get into F1.
Yeah.
So F1 is fun. It's hot. It doesn't appear to be going anywhere. You've bought more F1 cards than I have. I put Lewis Hamilton in our top 20 in our sports card investment report because I felt like F1 had to be represented and like he was the guy. Everything else seems to be a little bit in the infancy for me to like, I think
Mhm.
Verstappen, and I know that you're high on a couple of the other guys that I'll let you talk about, but I
Yeah.
think that it felt premature for me to feel comfortable enough to get someone else other than Hamilton in our top 100. But Greg, talk about F1. Tell us what you know, what you're doing, and do I need to have more drivers in my top 100?
Absolutely, you need to have more drivers in your top. And when you look at, I mean, F1 has been low for a lot of years. Then they released, I mean, low in popularity. Then Liberty Media bought the whole company, bought the brand, and they made it very, very popular, and it's only going to rise in the next years. And Liberty Media, being an American company, also brought a second American Grand Prix in Miami, actually at the Hard Rock Stadium, if I'm not mistaken. So the track is around
Okay.
the stadium, and you can be on the roof of the stadium and see the race from everywhere, which is kind of crazy. There's also, like I said earlier, a Grand Prix in Montreal that's coming back, but also the biggest factor is if you guys haven't watched this series, Drive to Survive, the documentary series that has been going on for 3 seasons on Netflix and is actually getting released mid-March, March 11th or something, for season 4, that you get all up close and personal with the drivers. You get to know them, which was the problem with F1. I mean, you had these drivers, you didn't know anything about these guys except for the biographies and what was going on in the media. And now you get to know them, I mean, in the pits every single race. And they have been doing a phenomenal job at creating content and, getting to know the drivers more, and also on social media. When you look at star power of these guys, you also have to look at performance and, yeah, star power and performance. Max Verstappen is the world champion, very controversial driver. I mean, disclaimer, I'm not a fan at all of Max Verstappen, but I mean, I can see why people like him. He has raw talent. He fights and races like a bat out of hell, and he's been there for a few years. But Max Verstappen stepped out for Drive to Survive season 4, and his value as the world champion is already up. And all of his rookie cards technically are all the 2020 Top Crumb set, since it was the first ever Topps card set that was released. The first ever Formula One top set that was released. So for me, Max Verstappen is not a buy right now, and more so in a sell situation. Lewis Hamilton, arguably the GOAT, the greatest driver of all time, who's going to chase an 8th world championship. There was speculation around him not being back because of all the controversy created at the last race of this season, which he lost the championship in the last lap by a, rule bending kind of thing by the FIA. Anyway, I mean, Lewis value is only going to go up, but the cards you get to chase are all from the 2020 Top Scrum set. So these are the buys I would do. And his most valued card is the portrait or the sitting variation of Lewis. And 2 other drivers that I believe a lot in are George Russell and Lando Norris. If you look at the polls, if you look at all around the world, even Instagram followers, those 2 youngsters have a lot of Instagram followers. They have a lot of star power. Everyone loves Lando Norris. He's a super funny guy, super humble, had great performances last year. Even in a race, Lewis Hamilton had to fight hard to pass him and said on the radio, such a great driver, Lando. And Lando was so happy when he heard that the GOAT was telling him, and anyway, Lewis Hamilton loves Lando. Everyone loves him. So star power, a lot of people are going to be high on him, just like I am. So I would buy Lando Norris cards for sure. A lot of variations. His portrait cards are going for also a lot of money. And also George Russell, who was driving for Williams and now signed with Mercedes to be Lewis Hamilton's teammate. It's only going to be a matter of time until these two young drivers win a race and also win a world championship. So from now, even though the cards are going for a couple $100, all of these cards are going to go for way more up, even if it's a short-term play, a flip, or a long-term. Like I said, the day George Russell win a world championship, if you have his rookie card in your hands, I mean, these cards are going to fly for a lot of $1,000. And there's already cards that are 10, 20, 50K of these three drivers.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I'm totally sold on F1 for all the reasons you mentioned. It's, there's 20 drivers. It's easy to follow. I believe it's on, most of the races are on Sundays before NFL games, which I think is genius. I just think that the marketing, the marketing and sponsorship and storytelling, the storytelling and the drama, are the recipe for success for F1. And it feels to me like a mix between, you've had the NFL that's blown up over the last 20 years, and you've had UFC has done the same thing. And it just feels like F1 is right in line, is right in line to be next after those two. Obviously, the only thing that makes it unique from like something like the WWE is because WWE is all scripted. But in terms of like what drama and soap opera storytelling that F1 could have, it feels like it could even fall in line with like a WWE type of interest. So I see F1 being huge. And the other thing I like about it from a sports card investment standpoint is researching those cards, which I've done a lot of research into those cards, more so than I have purchasing them. It's easy to understand the card ecosystem, right? Where we talked about soccer earlier in the show, a little bit different because you've got like a 70-year history of stickers and cards and, all sorts of stuff. Kind of hard to follow the different brands made in the different countries, a lot of different preferences. And for F1, even though it's an international sport, it's basically simple. You've got Topps. Yeah. Topps owns the license. Topps is making the sets. They've made a few different sets, and they're going to do it again this year, and they're going to keep doing it. So I think phenomenal call on George Russell and Lando Norris. Stay tuned, everyone, to see if they make it into our top 100 soon, based on Greg's recommendation and my research, of course. Yeah, this is great. Drive to Survive, the only reason I haven't watched it is because I know that the minute I start watching it, I'm going to be spending a lot more money on F1 cards than I probably should. So I've tempered my Drive to Survive, but with the new season coming up, I think I might need to, not only the new season of Drive to Survive, but the new season of F1, right? It's coming
the
up,
week after. Yeah, March going to be a big month.
Yeah.
Big month on card investing. Can't wait to chat with
Greg Lang. Yeah, I know. Greg Langto, great having you on. Anything else you want to add before I do the outro here?
No, man, I'm good. Let's talk in a month or something, and we can talk about how these cards have gone up, the ones we invested in, what we lost as well. And thank you for having me. It was a blast.
Sports Card Strategy Show, Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com. Special guest co-host Greg Langto. We're going to definitely have him on again, like he said, next month. Brought to you by MarketMoversApp.com by Sports Card Investor. We really want you to go there and use the promo code NOOFFSEason, all lowercase, to save 20%. And of course, Greg and I want you to check out the Sports Card Investment Report at nooffseason.com and join the Facebook group with us. So to find the Facebook group, easiest thing to do is just go to sportscardstrategy.com and you'll see the link right there to join the Facebook group. We'll let you in, and you'll hear from Greg and I in the Facebook group. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great day. All right, man. Great work. That was fun. That was awesome.
Thanks, Paul. It was a blast.